Alright, MrSotko here, and welcome back to another Company Heroes 2 replay cast, and today it is a 1 vs 1 on Gleize Breakout, and up top we have our red OKW player, RedxWings, and down at the bottom we have our blue Russian player, Jove, and it is Gleize Breakout, so we have our victory points going straight across the center of the map. The 1 vs 1 version of this map, so it's slightly smaller and things are jumbled around just a little bit. Fuel point is over on the far right and far left side of the map, and munitions points are in the center of the map on either side of the center victory point. And we have a special rifle command all the way at the end of the territory, sort of odd, and engineers running out to the first territory point now. And that Schwer Wehrmacht Schlepper moved out of the base a little bit there, well, kind of almost moved out of the base. And we have Volksgrenadiers on the right side moving down. Stern Pioneer looks like moving over towards that fuel point, and Volksgrenadier is going to take this territory point to connect these two at the same time there. And we have the conscripts moving out towards the left side here, taking the left side territory points. Meanwhile, the engineers look like they're going towards this munitions point here. And 2 conscripts for our Russian player, and the Volksgrenadier and an incoming Kuba wagon for the OKW player, but both sides on opposite sides of the map. So not going to run into each other just yet. And that Stern Pioneer going to take this field point indeed, and now moving on towards that munitions point with his troops really separated in an odd manner there. And there they go. And now conscripts are going out to the right side of the map now and going to be taking that first territory point. We'll run into his opponent very soon, putting some sandbags up at the munitions point here. Pretty good spot for sandbags as it's pretty open at this point right here. Very good cover from those. And the Kuba wagon now moving into the center of the map here, going to start suppressing these engineers. And we have a scout car coming out for the Russians. Probably going to stick some engineers with flamethrowers inside of that clown car. Now the Kuba wagon going to back up just a little bit as those engineers were trying to get inside that house there. Going to seek a little bit of ranged cover from those engineers. And now conscripts are moving towards that left side victory point here. We have additional Volksgrenadiers here coming to back up the Kuba wagon against those engineers. Going to get inside the house here and fire from long range, so it doesn't lose too many of those troops there. Scout car now moving forward here. It does have some conscripts inside of it, which is an unusual pick, but they probably came out relatively the same time there. So decided to stick them in there. Why not? And now the Kuba wagon trying to get out of there and fails to do so. And now scout car going to be firing at the Volksgrenadiers inside the building here. Going to go point blank with the machine gun, and the conscripts in the back there. Looks like a second clown car is out for the Russian player here. And we'll see if he decides to actually stick engineers in that or not. And we now have Stern Pioneers creating some shoe mines in the middle of the road here, and just going to be waiting for those scout cars to run over those. And just a scout car will take very heavy damage from a shoe mine, as it is a very light vehicle. Now the conscripts have taken the left side territory point and that victory point, now moving over towards the territory point in front of the OKW base there. And we have additional Volksgrenadiers now coming in, going to be getting inside this building here and firing on that scout car. Scout car taking damage from all sources here, from the Stern Pioneers and 2 Volksgrenadiers here on either side. And now another scout car is out on the map here with that flamethrower burning those Volksgrenadiers outside that building. They're going to be forcing them on out shortly here. Conscripts are actually taking quite a bit of damage in the back of the scout car here. And meanwhile, Volksgrenadiers moving over to the right side of the map. So 3 Volksgrenadiers here. Rakettenwerfer is on the way to deal with these scout cars. Now trying to back up that scout car there. Those conscripts very damaged, and will soon start to lose all of those those conscripts in the back of that scout car there. Engineers now 2 stars here, and forcing the troops out of there. 1 troop left in this Volksgrenadier squad. May actually lose that here to Jove and that clown car. And there he goes, loses that Volksgrenadier squad. And that shoe mine goes off on that clown car there and takes it out, and now it's just a burning wreckage. So a very good spot indeed for a shoe mine, as it was either very lucky or a very good spot. One of the 2 conscripts now taking the right side victory point here, leaving 3 victory points for the Russian forces. However, the Volksgrenadier is going to try and take this center one. Meanwhile, the scout car is empty now. The conscripts had gotten out and ran on back to base to reinforce. And we have conscripts here taking the territory point now. They did take this one here and are moving over to the right now. And we have Volksgrenadiers on the run here. May lose an additional man on the run here, and indeed does just that, loses another one. Volksgrenadiers coming on out, and that Rakettenwerfer as well. Now Camouflage trying to push it towards the center there and go after that scout car, but unfortunately that's going to be hard to do with the conscripts in your way here, so going to have to force those out first before he's going to be able to move out. Now conscripts are taking the right side fuel point for the Russians, so they will own all four, both fuel points and one munitions point, so they'll have quite the resource advantage here. Resources so far, 47 and 29 to 19 and 6, 494 to 397 the score. So Russians only losing 6 points so far this game. 4 conscripts left in this squad here, about to lose more very quickly here to 2 Volksgrenadier squads, actually losing another man there in that squad. And now retreating on out of there. We have engineers inside the scout car now and going after these troops here. And he spotted this Rakettenwerfer, now going after that and should be able to decrew this. Rakettenwerfer now trying to retreat on back home. Only 3 men left in this squad. Going to lose another man there in that volley, and we'll make it back on home, but cannot pursue those with those flak emplacements there. We'll lose that scout car in a quick hurry. And now we have Volksgrenadiers on the run from that scout car here. Going to lose another man, perhaps another one before he leaves, and indeed loses another one there, and I doubt he will lose a second man in that, or third man in that squad rather. And Rakettenwerfer strikes the frontal armor of that light scout car, I suppose armor if that's what you want to call it. And now overdriving that scout car to get on out of there as soon as possible. Just a few more hits, he would have lost that. Conscripts now are going to be battling out with the Volksgrenadiers here, and we're going to be bringing up that Rakettenwerfer to the center to ward away that scout car, but it is already all the way over on the right side and repairing now. Conscripts are on the other side of the house as well, firing at the flank of the Volksgrenadiers there. And additional conscripts now on their way to the center. Rakettenwerfer now being brought up here. And a Flak half-track is now being brought to the center of the map here. Going to force away all these conscripts as soon as they see that. Not going to be able to deal with that very well. So going to have to bring out something that will be able to handle that. Perhaps a 76 or a T-70 of some sort. Anything like that. Something low, low end. And now the conscripts here still trying to take out the troops inside that building here. But only 2 left in that squad. So now going to get out and run on home. Half-track has set up now, but a little bit too far from the building here where the conscripts are actually at. And Volksgrenadiers take over. A fresh squad of Volksgrenadiers rather takes over, and 2 conscript squads waiting to go in, and 2 of them with PPSH. And now the Flak half-track is actually in range of that house, which is somewhat surprising. That's quite the range there. That must be pretty much max range, only because they are actually inside that house. And to get those conscripts out of there as soon as possible. Very low on health. Lost them all to that Flak half-track. That was amazing. I don't think I've ever seen that before. They were all so low health that he lost them all at once. Even he says, whoa, which is true. That was quite amazing. And that is what happens in this game when your troops, even though he had 6 troops in his squad, they were all so low on health that losing all of the health in the squad causes all of the troops to die at once. And now coming right after that Flak half-track here and trying to juke around it here with the scout car, and good job so far, but I don't think it's going to last too long. He has PTRS sniper rifles, or PTRS anti-tank rifles. I suppose you could use it as a sniper rifle. Loses that squad and the guard rifles to that Flak half-track there, and what the problem was is that those PTRS were actually aiming at the Rakettenwerfer and not the half-track, I believe. So that is certainly not good, and even if they were aiming at the half-track, was not enough to take it out, only a small amount. And no comment on that scout car there. And perhaps also speaking of the conscripts that had all died at once, all 6 of them at once. I don't think I've ever seen that before, although I've seen a whole squad die to mortars, etc. Things like that, but definitely not a Flak half-track while inside of a building. That was pretty incredible. Now 2 conscripts moving forward towards these Stern Pioneers here, both of them with PPSH, and should be able to easily thwart away these Stern Pioneers. Still owns the majority of the map, so even though he is sort of low on units, even though Jove is sort of low on units, and does not have anything to really deal with that Flak half-track at the moment other than guard rifle, he will be able to catch up very quickly here, as he has such a huge income that he should be able to pull out whatever he needs to really deal with RedxWings setup, and could leave a conscript here and take that as well, but going to come around the backside of this half-track here. Meanwhile, these troops trying to get to the center here, but instantly suppressed by that half-track. Now going to turn around and try and use Ura here and try and get to that Flak half-track. And here he goes, an anti-tank rifle grenade, however, losing lots of conscripts in the meantime. And now retreating all of them away here. Lost quite a few there. A few in that squad and a few in that squad. And that anti-tank rifle grenade, not enough, as Storm Pioneers here are just going to simply repair that on back up. And now we have Volksgrenadiers scavenging that old Kubel wagon there. And indeed, the Storm Pioneers just simply going to repair it back up, so that anti-tank rifle grenade really didn't really do anything at all. Just simply had to stall his Storm Pioneers just for a moment, and really just cost Jove the munitions to do so. Now a scout car also being scavenged here with the bodies, and it should take those out at least before you start scavenging something. And now the Volksgrenadiers here taking that fuel point on the right. So I'm going to try and start getting back into this game here. In terms of the resource game, he does have the unit game going on just fine right now. Some shoe mines going down in the road again at the same spot there.
Prepare for combat.
And now Storm Pioneers taking the left side munitions point. They already have the right side munitions point, so quite a bit of resources incoming for our OKW player. But however, his score quite low, 494 and 248. And we'll see what Jove has in store to deal with that Flak half-track and the amount of slowly overwhelming OKW force. But 2 Rakettenwerfers out on the map, which I sort of disagree with, as there really isn't anything for them to deal with at the moment. But better safe than sorry, I suppose. Conscripts now chasing away these Storm Pioneers from the munitions point. Going to take that back here with guard rifle. And that Flak half-track still set up here in the center. Will fire on anything trying to get to this victory point here. Probably, perhaps could stand here or here and actually get that without being fired on by that Flak half-track. And conscripts on an engineer squad chasing these Volksgrenadiers here away from the right side can take that victory point and the territory point and the fuel point now. If he just forces the retreat on them, and just going to stick these engineers on the victory point there and take that. Meanwhile, bringing up those 2 Rakettenwerfers, one inside the house here and one over here. Nothing on the map for them to be able to really utilize them with, but again, better safe than sorry. Sooner or later here, something is going to be coming out for Jove that he will have to use that on. However, he has the Special Rifle Command and the support weapon, but does not have any kind of building to build up any kind of tanks with. So really, the Rakettenwerfer is not going to be too useful right now. Conscripts now pushing forward here with the PPSH right up to the wall of the house. They're going to take out that Rakettenwerfer crew very quickly, and we have guard rifle now moving up as well. And Rakettenwerfer pulls out there, and if they go around the corner there, that Flak half-track going to start to fire on them, so it was really wise of him to actually stop and not chase that Rakettenwerfer, even though he probably really wanted to take that out. Now the conscripts moving down, and Storm Pioneers in the way here. Gonna have a battle with them real quick here. And now Volksgrenadiers moving down to the right side, taking that victory point and the munitions point. The Storm Pioneers and conscripts now going at it here. And so far, the Storm Pioneers doing fairly well, and they have a short distance to run back to their base either way. And so now leaving 3 conscripts left in that squad. A Volksgrenadier also retreating away as well. 2 guard rifle squads now out on the map for Jove, and an MG is also coming as well. And with those 2 guards rifles, should be able to take out that Flak half-track at some point, but still got to watch out. It's easier said than done, as that Flak half-track suppresses troops so quickly. And it's very hard to deal with now with only 2 men left in that squad there, and running on home immediately. Volksgrenadiers now taking that right side munitions point. And now the OKW owns the majority of the right side of the map there. All the important and good stuff, the victory point, the fuel point, and the territory point on the far right there. Whereas Jove owns the center victory point and the left side victory point. So still winning the game technically, 494 to 220. And I'll bring it up an engineer here to deal with the Volksgrenadier squad. However, that Flak half-track is very close. Going to start firing on those engineers there from max range and instantly suppressing them. And we have the Maxim now set up on those Volksgrenadiers there. Suppress them, force the retreat. We have additional Volksgrenadiers coming up, but they're going to get inside the house there, hold that for a little while, and could easily take this center victory point now, as Jove really isn't nearby, really doesn't have anything to really deal with that Flak half-track, other than a couple guard rifle, but again, easier said than done, as PTRS are very, very slow to fire. The guards typically try to seek cover similar to the captain of the U.S. forces. And so they can actually jumble around a little bit when they should be actually firing their PTRS. They're actually searching for cover, so it can create quite a bit of issues sometimes with guard rifle. And now taking that territory point there, guard's going to get fired on by that Flak half-track, going to lose at least one man there, lost a couple, and now only one man left in that squad. And now additional conscripts now moving forward with the PPSH. They did actually buff the PPSH recently, as I used to sort of complain about it in my previous replays, as I always used to think that the PPSH was sort of a downgrade on your conscripts, as it really reduced their long-range damage, and that was the majority of the time it was long-range damage with conscripts. But now that they buffed them, they are quite good. They buffed the accuracy at all ranges, at far, medium, and short range, so they perform better at every range now. And the guard rifle here set up and going to try and fire on that Flak half-track. They now fired inside the house here, and we have Volksgrenadiers and Stern Pioneers coming right up behind them. They need to retreat out of there immediately, and conscripts pushing forward to that Flak half-track, having a hard time with this. Now retreating those guards and having a hard time doing that, getting body blocked here. May actually lose this whole guard squad. And we'll see in just a moment. And tried to get to that Flak half-track, could not do it, lost that guard squad there. Now two conscripts running on home, could not get to that Flak half-track, tried to get some anti-tank rifle grenades on it, but still just having a hard time dealing with that half-track. Needs to bring out a 76 to at least hit it once and persuade it to simply back up and get away from the fight for portions of time. And now back at the base here, lots of reinforcing to do, so not much money incoming for Jove here, as he's going to have to reinforce all of this, and guard rifles are not really particularly cheap to reinforce. They're 27, which isn't the most expensive, but conscripts are 20. Now losing a machine gun crew here. The Maxim now going to be taken by the OKW there, and picking it up in the fire there, and now going to lose his troops while trying to pick up the Maxim. Pretty funny there, and now going to be running on home and have to reinforce that. Now Stern Pioneers are taking the left side territory point. And I'd like to see some of these troops start to go off towards the left side here, take that field point and the victory point to really try and get back into this game in terms of the victory point values. And now Jove moving back out towards the center of the map here. 3 conscripts and the guard rifle now moving on out to the center, along with that engineer as well. And now Stern Pioneers are moving over to the left side here. It looks like they're going to be taking that left side victory point, along with the center, the left side munitions point here with the Volksgrenadiers. And now bringing up a schwere Wehrmacht Schlepper to the center of the map here. Flak half-track is in the center as well. Now chased those Volksgrenadiers away. Going to be taking that left side munitions point here, but going to go past it and leave it for later. Now going to try and ward off these Stern Pioneers from taking his left side victory point as well. And there they go, running away and splitting up his conscripts a little bit now and taking that munitions point. And looks like one of them is going here and one of them is going to this territory point as well, as he knows at the moment he has to be taking territory very soon, because he's definitely losing the game in terms of troops, as he has much less troops, although this is sort of padded in terms of the 2 Raketenwerfers on there, as the Raketenwerfers really don't do pretty much anything at the moment. But now that he has those 2 Raketenwerfers, it should be a lot easier to deal with the 2 T-70s that are coming out for Jove at the moment. Now taking that right side victory point and right side territory point at the same time here. And now he did take that left side munitions point, victory point, and the territory point here, but he actually ran away here from that Maxim, and so he will not be taking that territory point. And now conscripts forcing the retreat of that Maxim there. And now trying to take this right side field point. However, that Flak half-track is over here and it's going to force the retreat on those guards. And even though the guards can deal with that Flak half-track, with those PTRS, again, they just cannot fire very quickly. They're just sort of overall, in my opinion, a slightly disappointing unit, as they typically never perform the way you want them to. And now conscripts moving forward here. That's sort of like the U.S. captain. It's exactly the way I like to describe it. As the captain, you always want to use the captain. It's got 2 bazookas, and then it just ends up trying to find cover and jumbling around on you and not firing at all. And that is sort of what the guards typically do as well. Schwere Panzer headquarters has been set up in a pretty decent spot here in the right side center of the map. And any troops that come along there are going to have a bad time. And Star Pioneers now taking the center victory point there. Two victory points will belong to the OKW shortly here. And there are 3 T-70s out on the map. 2 of them waiting for each other here. Looks like he's going to go out with all 3 of them at once. And this is somewhat unusual. A 4th T-70 is now coming as well. And now pushing them towards the center of the map here, and we'll see what he can do with these, if he can actually take out that Flak half-track or not. But the problem is, there is a Schwerer Panther headquarters and the Flak half-track, so he will lose very quickly here. As soon as that Schwerer Panther headquarters starts firing, going to lose these T-70s really, really fast. And now going to lose a T-70 here to the Rakettenwerfer and the Schwerer Panther headquarters. There goes one, and it was abandoned but exploded there. Jove surrenders the game, leaving RedxWings the winner. And I think Jove just simply got outplayed later, about halfway through the game, and just started losing units unnecessarily. Lost quite a bit of units, including guard rifles and conscripts, and even those 2 scout cars weren't played all that well. And this Flak half-track just gave him so much. I think this is the hero of the game. 35 kills on this half-track. Had he not gotten this half-track, I don't think this game would have been won by the OKW. I think this half-track pretty much alone beat this game. He just could not deal with this half-track. I think he should have brought up a 76 instead of building guard rifles, as guard rifles are pretty good, but they're better at sort of things like 222s, perhaps half-tracks, other than the Flak half-track, of course, and things like that. Maybe even a Puma, they're pretty good at, but things that suppress them, they're not very good at, particularly this Flak half-track. It fires way faster and way further range than the guard rifles do, and so it just takes you out very, very quickly there. But I hope you guys enjoyed this replay, and I will see you guys next time.